What's up, Duke fans? Welcome to the Devil's Den Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Smith, joined by my co-host, Raul and Shu. A little under the weather, so if you hear me kind of being a little nasally over here, I think all of us are struggling a little bit. So first off, though, hope everyone had a great holiday season. Obviously, we're recording this right before New Year's Eve as Duke gets set to kind of come back here against Georgia Tech. I figured we would jump in a little bit, fellas, do a little bit more of like a global kind of ACC pan around, little kind of chop it up a little bit. Particularly since the conference is significantly better than it was last year. I mean, you go through, you look at the numbers, it's still not really getting much recognition, probably nationally, maybe rightfully so. Like, it's not really popping at the level that it was, 5-6 years ago. But I think there's some optimism there, or at least some challenge that Duke can probably get this go around that last year's team just didn't really get. That said, I'm not expecting a 28-point margin of victory or whatever it was that we had last year. Probably not going to get that. But fellas, we can kind of jump in here and look at it. So there are 8 teams currently in the KenPom top 40, also top 40 in the net. We'll just go through those. Duke, of course, Louisville, Carolina, Virginia, Miami, randomly in there, State, Clemson, and SMU. So maybe we get more teams than we did last year. We'll probably talk about that a little bit here. I'm not going to go through the breakdown of all of these here right this second. But fellas, just kind of as we jump in, what are your thoughts just on like the overall health of the ACC as we get closer and closer to just kind of like a conference realignment shakeup, if you will?
Well, if you look at just by the numbers on KenPom, I mean, as you mentioned, there's 8 teams in the top 40. We're rated as I think the 4th best league right now, which is the highest we've been in this decade. I think since 2019 we rated 3rd. I think it's the best the league's been in a long time. I don't know if it's to do with the recruiting and getting more players in, maybe the transfer portal shaking things up. I do know the ACC made a commitment to like schedule better games this year because the Big 12 was kind of pulling the computer tricker thing for a long time. And I think the ACC wanted to make an effort to like, hey, let's get some real games on the docket and quit playing all these cupcake games and kind of pushing our numbers, suppressing our numbers.
Yeah, Brownell's been a pretty big kind of component of doing that. So I'm not a big Brownell supporter or not supporter, but I really like that he was talking about like, hey, we need to be smarter. He said this a couple of years ago in regard to like how Houston kind of started scheduling a few years back. But Raul, what about you, man? How you feeling about just the overall health of the league here as we hopefully avoid kind of arbitration or whatever is going to end up happening?
I feel like they're right there with the best conferences. Like I think we mentioned on previous podcasts, there have been several games where the ACC was almost able to pull these massive upsets, but then like lost by 1 point or something. So it's just like if a few more of those had gone the ACC's way, I think they'd be more talked about nationally. Kind of coming back to last year, I think it was just kind of a transition period for the ACC. Like you had a lot of new coaches, Louisville was recovering. I mean, they recovered very well, but from the Kenny Payne thing, you brought in 3 new teams as well. So that was a big factor. And I just feel like now more teams are kind of finding their footing. Like Virginia was not good last year, and now they've really managed to turn it around and kind of gotten back up to that Tony Bennett level. So UNC is kind of rebounding as well. So I just think that it's not going to be a situation where we have 3 teams in the NCAA tournament, because I'm not even going to count Carolina getting in there because they had to come in through like the play-in essentially, right? So so I guess you can call it 4 if you want, but I think at this point the ACC's got like 4 locks probably, and then you could see a couple more sneak in.
Yeah, I think you can see him get like probably up to 8. I mean, we can talk about that a little bit too. But yeah, I mean, you would think right now like 6, 7 feels pretty good. I mean, I think 4, like you said, are pretty much. They're like, yes, there you go. Not intended there. But yeah, I think hopefully that we're going to get a little bit of a challenge here. And I hope we win a lot of these games too. Like, let's not get it too twisted. But there is at least going to be some more. I mean, for a lot of like most of last year in conference, it was just kind of like we turned a game on, and it's like I was watching like reruns of one of my favorite shows from the '90s or something. Right? Like you can just tune out a little bit, and you're up 30. You're 30 piece, and Slim's coming off the bench, and we're like increasing the lead, and it was just getting out of hand.
As good as some of those. Well, as good as last year's Duke team was, some of those performances other teams had against
awful.
The one that sticks out in my mind was at Miami. down there just was like one of the saddest performances I've ever seen from an ACC team. Like zero effort, zero togetherness. Just the gym was dead quiet too. No fan engagement. You remember you could hear that one guy yelling. Duke fan was just like shouting out random players.
Yeah, he was all over. Who was it? Was it Khan or he was over somebody?
I think it was Khan. Maybe I feel like maybe it was Khan.
Yeah, and then at the end, I think Sheffield came in and like made a basket or something, and he's like, "I don't know who you are, but I love you." Or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, and even the teams that were like on the bubble, we were like at SMU last year was just a romp, right? And we didn't even have our coach. So even those ones, shouts to Clemson. They did what they needed to do. Shouts to Notre Dame. That was a hell of a game in Cameron. Outside of that, though, man, I mean, it was pretty meaty in terms of how we took care of business last year. But this is
even the Notre Dame game was a runaway until it
got to like, hey, can we get this kid 40? And that kind of became a bit of a thing there.
Yeah. But I like that Raul mentioned, like, a couple different outcomes early this season. The ACC could really be looked at. I mean, Florida State took Florida to the wire, and Wake Forest had Michigan.
Wake pulls off that Michigan game. Who knows what they're looking
head to right. I mean, they had blew it in overtime. Yeah,
they had the game. Yeah, and then does that change how we view Michigan? Do they end up kind of getting on this heater? I mean, who knows? Butterfly effect type stuff there. But fellas, I guess as we get into it, obviously we have Georgia Tech up next. We previewed that a little bit on the last one. I know that was like a week or so ago. We'll talk about them a little bit, but we're sitting here talking about the strength of the conference. Unfortunately for Damon Stoudemire, Georgia Tech is not a part of that conversation yet. So, we're not going to spend too much time there. I say that Duke will be in a heater come Wednesday, but
they played us tough, the last couple of years. So
they really have played us pretty tough. Don't think they shoot enough, from I don't think they do enough from there. They do have some nice little big guy pieces, obviously the Gongo has killed us in the past. They got a freshman big though that's kind of outplaying him right now, really. So front court could be kind of interesting, but we can talk about that, fellas. I think though overall here, like, is there a toughest matchup like out there for you? And I don't know if you want to pull like Louisville or Carolina just off the cards and let's talk more kind of nuanced here, or I mean, at Louisville is a week away, so maybe that is fitting. What do you have for your toughest kind of matchup here for Duke?
Yeah, I think it's hard not to pick either Louisville or North Carolina. You're just looking at the projected scores there, and it's like Louisville is supposed to be a 1-point win, so it's a coin flip, right? 52% chance that Duke wins. And then the North Carolina game, we're projected to win by 3, so that's another tight one. But there's some other stuff kind of sprinkled throughout the schedule. I know Virginia's at home, so that should help Duke, and Duke is projected to win that by 10, but that could certainly be a tough game. It's going to be kind of sandwiched in between playing at Notre Dame, and then you get a little bit of a break, but then you come back, play Virginia at home, and then you have to turn around and go to NC State. So I guess, really I could highlight that State game as well, because we know what a house of horrors that's been for Duke. And if you're coming off a tough Virginia game, even if you win that game at home, it's like then to have to just play a few days later at NC State. I know they haven't been quite as amazing as people projected them this year, but they certainly have the talent to beat Duke. And if
they can light you up from 3, like if they get going and get shooting, I mean, they start lighting you up, and like you said, we know that could turn into a bloodbath quickly. Haven't seen that under John. We have really under John with State too. But it's been
a couple years ago though
for a while. It's been a thing for a while. I'm not really counting the Final Four one, but that earlier season game where they were just up on us, like what was 28-2.
Proctor's freshman year.
Mark Mitchell or something was just getting.
Duke got blown out a lot that year. One thing that Shire's teams have definitely improved on is we're no longer getting blown out. We're like losing close games if we lose. So.
Yeah, we're in these games. Yeah, we're definitely in these games. I mean, I don't know. Shoe for you, is it you got something kind of in particular?
Well, I mean, look, the Louisville game, obviously everybody's going to point to, but I'd also point out, Louisville doesn't have a great start to this ACC conference season. They might already be out there. They're heading to the West Coast. They're playing Cali and Stanford, their first 2. So they're going to be coming back. I think they're playing maybe Wednesday night, Saturday, then coming back to play us on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So, maybe that's something that helps us out a little bit. Maybe it doesn't matter at all. The Carolina game, obviously, I mean, it doesn't matter. All the cliches like throw out the records. The Carolina game is going to be tough. We just know that. It doesn't matter. I mean, last year we swept them or three-pieced them, right? So I'm sure they're going to be looking for something there. Caleb Wilson's already kind of talked this stuff, and so we'll see how that goes. I think the Virginia game, like Raul mentioned, do we play at Virginia Tech? I didn't look at that.
We do. Yeah. That's always one for sure.
That's always one that. Yeah,
that's a good call because that's right after we play Louisville for the second time in Cameron, right? Yeah. So you play Louisville again, and then you go on the road to Virginia Tech. So you do have you play Louisville on a Monday and Virginia Tech on a Saturday. So maybe you feel a little bit better having 5 days there. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a ton of those like gross kind of turnarounds. So like those quick
Saturday Mondays.
Yeah, we don't really have we used to have those like all the time. Unfortunately, one of them is that Virginia NC State game. So if you're looking at that of like, okay, you're in Raleigh, they're supposedly back or whatever, so that could get you. Yeah, I don't know, man. The Virginia one though is one to me where it's like a sneaky, like Ryan Odom is a good coach and he's got these guys ready to play. Louisville is, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just because I don't like them. I don't like PK, really, to be honest with you. And so I just kind of think they're a bit of a fraud. Personally, I think they shoot too much. They shoot way too many threes. They're not that great at it. So it's like, all right, if they're good, they're okay. But I think they're number one in the country in like 3-point attempts, right? And so,
so it depends on how you catch them. They're making them.
If you're gonna shoot, they shoot 36%, which is fine. But if they're going to shoot like 40-some threes or something, and we can really just kind of eat in the paint, and I don't know, man. I'm not completely sold on Louisville. Arkansas beat them pretty handily. Tennessee beat the brakes off of them. Duke handled both of those teams. I think we're tougher than them.
Kansas beat them in preseason too, I believe. And
they could take it. We could totally split with them. You lose in the Yum Center, whatever. Like that's could totally happen.
I mean, and I think we're probably all. At least I know I am, and I know Josh. We've talked about it. We're still a little salty about the Coach of the Year thing too.
Oh,
it's like, I mean, I'm happy that John was able to already get a little bit of revenge by beating them in the ACC championship final. There, it's like, who's the better coach? The guy who swept you, or the other guy, right? But speaking of Louisville, one of those Saturday Monday games, the only one I'm seeing actually is. Fortunately, they're both at home, is Wake Forest at home, and then 2 days later, Louisville at home. So that's a little tough. Like, at least we don't have to travel, but that's a quick turnaround. And it will be our second time playing Louisville. So maybe the scouting is a little bit more kind of built in already. So hopefully that helps as well. But that could be a tough one too, especially like if we've already beat Louisville, and it's like sometimes it's easier for the team that lost to kind of make the adjustments.
Yeah, come in a little hungrier or whatever. Yeah. I will say though, if you do get them on the road, you want to feel pretty good about like, all right, let's just finish this thing out in Cameron.
Yeah. And if I had to win one of the two, I'd rather get the road one, just because that's like an impressive kind of resume stamping, victory. And the home game is still, they're good enough that it would still be quad one, even if we dropped it. So you never like to lose at home, but.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're going to go undefeated at home or something, and that would be like the third time in 3 seasons or something John would have done that. So our third time in 4 seasons, which is pretty damn impressive. But all right, so I think we're all kind of in the same ballpark here. Again, there's not a ton of these kind of big trap games here. Is that we've talked about this a little bit, fellas, but like, is there like a stretch where you just think it's like murderer's row here? I mean, for me, it used to be. If this was like the K years, it was always like that January time, which is just kind of hell for us, right? Like we come back from break and we're just the defense falls apart. But I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at this and it's not too bad. I mean, if you want to say, the late January Wake, Louisville, Virginia Tech, like that's maybe in late January, maybe you get bit there.
For me, it's actually the last 3 games of the
that's my
ACC schedule.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 quad 1 games.
You could make it 5 really if you wanted to start from that Michigan game and just say Michigan on neutral at Notre Dame, Virginia at home, at State, and then Carolina at home. That's that's big boy.
I kind of like that. That's leading into the postseason though. It's like let's ramp up and get some like heavy competition, like right before you go into the ACC tournament and NCAA tournament and all that. So.
Yeah, I mean that's similar to that like second weekend type stuff, right? Yep. Like you're in a regional there. The Michigan game is a Final Four championship type game, right? You're not to meet them until Indianapolis. So, yeah, pretty brutal down there. Same for you, Shu, or you got something? I mean, it's hard to hard to argue that one, really. I guess.
Yeah, the schedule's really backloaded. So between February 7th at UNC and the second UNC game, that's a month there. You got North Carolina twice. You've got Clemson, Michigan, Virginia, and NC State. So all top 40 KenPom teams. And it's not like, Notre Dame or Syracuse are horrible either. So that's a really tough month there.
Yeah. I guess the next year, looking on that line here, let's do a two-parter. So one is, do you see one of these, like what's going to be the biggest upset? So if Duke drops a game, kind of where would you say, all right, this is where maybe I shouldn't be worried about it, but it could be kind of a trap, could be dangerous. Who do you think Mike could reach out and get them?
The one I look at is the Cal game at Cal.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think we're predicted to win by 9 or 10, but it's going to be on the road. Have we played at Cal once? I don't think we've played there yet, right? No. When they joined last year? Yeah,
last year we didn't have.
Yeah, we've played them a couple, several times. But I don't know if we've ever played.
But it's never played them at Cal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and they're I think they're a 1-loss team right now. Now they don't have any great wins. I think they beat UCLA. They've got a lot of wins in the 200s or whatever, but they seem like a more than a capable team. And then obviously a head coach with NBA experience will, probably have something for us. So we'll see how that game. That's the one I'm looking at. Like if we tripped up on somebody that I thought we would beat otherwise to start the season, that would be who I look at.
Yeah, last year we were spared the West Coast trip, so we didn't play at Stanford or at Cal. So that's going to be kind of cool, I think. Just hopefully we can win both of them, but I just think it'll be a cool experience to just see a new like ACC arena that we haven't played at, right? Like last year we got to play at SMU for the first time, like you mentioned, Josh, and that was, of course, Carewell coaching, and we handled that fine. But, this is a different Duke team. And I think that I don't know a lot about Cal's home court. I mean, I know Stanford's is like a little bit more like Duke's, where it's like a kind of more intimate, small arena. So that'll be cool. But I don't think I've ever seen like a game at Cal. So I don't know what to expect there.
Yeah, that's fair. I think for me, I like the Cal pick, especially the Cal and Stanford. Like you could get caught on the West Coast over there at one of those. I guess if you're going to drop one, you'd kind of prefer Cal. Maybe they're
for sure, yeah.
You right? Like they're slightly better than Stanford. Stanford's not terrible, but Cal's is right there on the fringe.
That's a likely quad 1-1, whereas Stanford has work to do to make it quad 1.
A little bit of work to get in there. Yeah, I think for me that we've talked about it a little bit. The two that probably pop the most for me, and like in terms of like frustration level, is going to be that. I hate to even say this because I'm going to be at this game. It's going to be the Wake game at home, and then the other one's going to be at Notre Dame. Like those are the two where it's like those teams are right there. They're not quite like in the same level where you think that they should be able to kind of maybe compete with the team like Duke, but I think they're good enough to get in there and sneak up on you. I mean, Forbes has shown he's going to junk the game up. They did that to Michigan. They're going to do that. We saw it last year too. They're just the way they play.
They're going to be real physical as usual.
You get into something like that, and every now and then, like maybe whether it's officiated a certain way or whatever, and then the Notre Dame one as well, just because Shrewsbury seemed to just be able to hang with us every single year so far. So eventually you got to think maybe they get one right. And that's up there in South Bend right after we play Michigan. So, outside of that though, I mean, I'm not too worried about like Cuse at home. I'm not worried about Pittsburgh on the road. I mean, Virginia Tech can get you, but I don't know if that would be a shocker because historically they played us well over there in Blacksburg. That's been a death pit for us. So yeah, outside of that, I mean,
weird schedule. We don't play Miami at all.
Yeah, that's pretty lame, man. I hate that. That's
yeah. Of all years too, to not schedule Miami, right? It's like Jay Lucas joins the staff. We beat them out for the boozers. It's like,
and they're actually decent too, right? Like they've actually,
you think that like the schedule makers would have a little bit more of a sense of drama than that. You know what I mean?
How do you mess that up? But yeah. So, all right. Is there like a most impressive win for you then? So if you have an upset pick, and since this is on the hotline, I can go first. But is there one that like, I think this is going to be the most impressive? And when I say that, it doesn't have to be. It could be like how they win, margin, or like whatever. Obviously, we're leaving Michigan off this one, I guess. Let's kind of stick.
That would certainly be the most impressive if we pulled that off.
That would be the most impressive. I'm going to say for me, I'm going to go, and maybe I'll just lean into it because I've already said it a little bit earlier. I think it might happen here in a week or so, and I think we might go into the Yum Center and just hand them another 20-piece and just be like, all right, if that's the number 2, we'll see. That's going to be for me because I think that's a lot of ones where maybe you could lose, maybe you could split. It's 81-80 prediction. You go in there and handle it. I think that would be pretty damn impressive if you were able to go in there and blow them out. Outside of that, you don't have too many more opportunities. Really would be hard to see us doing it again at Carolina in the first one again to go over there and just romp. Be incredible if you did it again. Hard to see that.
Well, yeah, I mean, because even last year's game at Carolina wasn't exactly like a blowout, though. The home game was, but that was a little tightly contested, and then we kind of pulled away at the end. If you remember, Malik Brown hit those 2 threes, and we had a couple other big plays. Kind of
dive and play. Sion gets downhill. Sion was really good in that game too.
Yeah, I think I would be impressed, really, even if we weren't blowing out Louisville. Like I feel like last year's game winning at Louisville was impressive because if you remember, we were down by like 6 or something, and then we had that big run at the end, and Cooper wasn't even in the game because he got in foul trouble. And we had like an 18-4 run or something to close that game. Malik Brown was big in that one. So hopefully he could work similar magic again this year. But, I feel like.
How are y'all missing the obvious one here? How are we missing the obvious one?
What is it?
Winning in Raleigh, dude. I mean, they can have 4 dead guys out there.
Yeah. I guess because we've already talked about it, I've just conceded it as a loss. Just whatever.
Yeah.
Written it off. I'm emotionally detached.
Especially with where it is in the schedule, it would definitely be impressive. Just like, coming off Virginia, maybe, avoiding looking ahead to that UNC game too. And that time of the year, like guys are like banged up and tired as well. So, that would be super impressive. 2 years ago when we won up there, if you remember, I thought that was super impressive. That was a McCain team or whatever. But then, of course, we completely undermined that by losing to them twice in the space of a couple of weeks after that.
Yeah. I was going to say, too, I was just looking. I think last year, our biggest margin of victory over an ACC opponent was 36. Let me check. No, it was 37 on the road. Do we beat that? Do we 37-piece somebody this year? And to your credit, that's that god-awful Miami team. We beat them by 35 and then 37. Beat Stanford 106-70. Good Lord. Forgot about that.
Where's the Boston College game at this year?
It's in Cameron.
It's in Cameron.
And that would be my candidate for it.
38-piece.
But Boston College also, they've lost to some pretty terrible teams.
Boston College is they're awful. They're bad.
So we're predicted in that game. We're predicted to win by 24.
Yeah,
just for perspective. So
40 spots higher than Miami was last year. So
So I mean, I think we could do it though. I think you've seen with this Duke team, they have had the ability to really put some beat downs on some teams so far. Maybe you're not this. I don't think this team is going to like wax everybody by 20, but they've been able to run up the score on some teams. So
yeah,
I think they could do it, especially if you get in an open court game where Cam's just able to throw outlet passes over and over again. The BC game would be my pick there. Unless it's this Georgia Tech game and they're just gonna, just work off some frustration from the last game.
Yeah, that's true too. Hard to get up to 38 points, man, in a conference game. That'd be pretty insane. But all right, fellas, I guess we can kind of transition here a little bit. So next up, Duke currently is 4-1 in quad one games. I think you said we have 8 here. Michigan would make 9.
Potential, and that can change.
It could change for sure. So 4-1, looking at it, I guess over under here. Are you taking double digit Q1 wins, or are we getting 10 or more wins here? I think that would put us at what if we did that? That'd be 10-4 in quad one games.
Well, so we played 5 so far, and you said there's 8 left, so there's 13 total potentially. So
9 left because Michigan's
Michigan. So you're 10-4. You could be 10-4 if you win 10, or you could be 11-3 or whatever you think. But do you think? You can 10?
I mean, we've got 4 quad one wins already, so we need 6 out of the potential 9.
Who goes 6-3 in these games? I guess is the better question.
Yeah, I think so. I think we get the double digits, which I don't know what we had the last couple of years, but I don't feel like we had a lot of quad one wins.
No.
Just because the ACC didn't give you any opportunities for any.
Yeah. Here's a better question for you, actually, because I think does Duke drop a non-quad one game?
I'll go with 1, maybe.
I think I agree with you. Yeah.
And I think to come back to the earlier thing, I think we either finish with 9 or 10 quad one wins. Like if we don't crack that double, it's going to be right there. It's going to be at 9 probably. Because I could see us dropping potentially 3 quad one games in conference and then the Michigan game. Like it could play out that way.
Or maybe we don't even play enough to get there and one of these drops off and we don't lose necessarily a game. We just, we don't have.
So I'll go with 9 or 10 quad one wins and 1 Q2 loss. And that's just kind of me being conservative because it's like I just feel that this team is not so dominant that I can sit here and say they're not going to drop 1 game that they shouldn't.
Right.
Just 1. Like I'm not predicting that they're
Clemson at Notre Dame. Those are all Q2 games, right? If one of these other ones drops down somehow,
this is the Cal game Q2. That's
maybe the Virginia game. Somehow they lose a couple games right then there, and they drop right out of it because they're right on the threshold. Kind of, they're kind of safe, but they could get outside of that top 30. The other ones seem pretty safe, I would think.
I mean, Cal is
caught one, but
yeah, I guess they're 48, so they're kind of.
They'd have to drop pretty far. That's on the road. Top 25, they're safe. So, okay, that's not too bad then. I guess let's do this. Well, I don't know. We'll just stay in order here. I guess the next one we're going to look at is kind of our top 4 finish. So we've talked around the league a little bit. I don't want to do the whole entire ballot of the league because there's still some just kind of dirt down there a little bit, and there's just a lot of muck in the middle, really.
Who do you think are getting the double buys for?
So we'll do double buys. I mean, for me, it's Duke, Louisville, Carolina, Virginia. I mean, that's the 4 for me. State, I still don't trust like Will Wade as like an actual coach on the 4 yet. It's a lot of talk, really, for me. But the other 4, I'd be pretty surprised if it wasn't. I guess Virginia and State, could maybe flip flop there. Clemson maybe could flip flop in there a little bit. But I like that top 4.
I think I've made the comparison of Will Wade to Josh Pastner, like where great recruiter of talent, like he's assembled a really nice roster, but I want to see a little bit more like discipline and like organization on the floor from NC State before I can kind of like,
Well,
really.
you see his press conference, right? If you're not you got composure, it would be nice, right? Like leadership, composure. That's why you don't see it on the floor. To me, I mean, I don't know, man.
Because even his team that made the tournament last year, McNeese or whatever, that was impressive, but they played just like the most chaotic style of basketball I've ever watched. Yeah, so I agree with those four. Is there one that like you think could like sneak in into that top four that we haven't mentioned?
Well, I would go Duke, Louisville, Virginia, and then my fourth will either be Carolina or Clemson.
Right.
Okay. To your question, I think, and this is weird to say, Miami, man.
Okay.
Miami, they're 36 on KenPom right now, dude. Like they were right there with BYU. They were right there with Florida. None of their other wins are like super, super impressive. It's like Jay has been eating on the ocean floor here a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of sub 300 teams here, a lot of just kind of, but they got to win over Mississippi on the road. That's impressive. That's top 60 team there. The Georgetown win, not so much, but they played some decent teams well. So, and if you trust what Jay was doing at Duke, I mean, he was getting pretty heralded defensively. He's sporting a top 30 defense in year one.
Yep. And the offense is not terrible either.
No,
56.
it's not. I know we don't, Shelton Henderson is probably still a sore name for some Duke fans, but man, he's got some pop to him a little bit too, man.
And I'll say they're beating the teams they should beat. When I'm looking through their schedule here, it's like
they've only lost the two that they were not favored to win.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
right. And they're beating the bad teams comfortably. So
they're projected to finish 11-7. I mean, if that flips a little bit to like 13-5, that's
it could, for sure.
That's easily top four, I would think.
Yep.
Right? Like, that'd be a sneaky one.
How many? Okay, so I'm predicting Duke to win the conference, but how many games do you think that the team who wins the conference will lose? So, like, is it 3 losses? Does that win you the conference or what?
Yeah, so 18 games, 18. So you'd be
18
and 3. Yeah, I think 15 and 3.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think the winner will be 15. If you get to 16, I think you got it locked up. It's locked up in 16, right? 16-2.
It's not like last year where you had to win every game to win the conference.
Yeah, exactly. We literally had to go 19-1 to pull away from the 2 teams.
Yeah. So, I think 15-3 gets it done. That would be, 16-2 would be really impressed. I'd be really impressed with 16-2.
I just don't think you're going to have a team that only drops 2 games because the conference balance is so much better.
Yeah.
That, I think the top, like the 4 seed might have like 6 losses or something. So,
yeah. I think they're going to be right there, right? Like, I think 15-3 might win it, but it might win it on a tiebreaker. Or it might win it by like just a game, right? Like you could have like 15-3, 14-4, 14-4, 12-6, 13-6, or whatever.
Well, so we play Louisville and Carolina twice. That's our 2. Who is Louisville's double? So they're playing us. Who's the other team that they play twice?
It's SMU.
It's SMU. Okay.
Oh yeah, there you go. Good call. Yeah, good catch. Yeah,
so,
cool.
Okay.
All right, so Duke and SMU. So that's not. I mean, SMU can get them once, Duke splits with them there. They lose on the road to Carolina. They lose on the road to Clemson or something right there. I mean, they have a pretty tough. Their end of the schedule is at Carolina, at Clemson, home against Syracuse, at Miami.
Yeah, and they're only favored. They're only favored by 3 on the road against SMU. So that's a losable game.
Yeah,
3 on the road at Miami too. So I mean, there's a lot of games that could flip on them there. So
yeah. I know we've talked about it a little bit. I mean, in terms of how many teams gets into the tournament. I mean, I was just listening to Eye on College Basketball. I think GP and Orlando were talking about that too. I think there were like 7 or 8 is kind of where they're at. That's where I'm at too, I think.
Yeah. I think 6 is the minimum for me. Because I feel like you got 4 locks and 2 other teams are going to sneak in there.
You would think so, yeah. So if we're all kind of in agreement with that, I don't know if we want to go through and do all of the first teams and all of that stuff, but I did like your question before we kind of hopped on here. First off, let's just do the big ones here. Do you have who's your ACC Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year? Are you going outside of Cameron Boozer? Then have the full, or I don't need to say anymore. I guess I'm going with Cam for both of those. Anybody taking Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, I guess should I GP rant and be like, if you have a Player of the Year who's also a rookie, how are they not the same
Yeah, I hope they don't do
Yeah.
that. Where like Cam Booster's player of the year, Caleb Wilson's rookie of the year.
Yeah,
or vice
throw
versa.
Caleb Wilson a bone,
If you think
Yeah.
Caleb's the best player, then give him both. If you think Cam's the best, then give him both. Yeah, I don't like that stuff either, man. That's just
I think
participation stuff at that point.
Wilson is the only contest for freshman of the year. That's his only competition, and I don't see him overtaking that. So, player of the year. I mean, who else would you even kind of put up there? I mean, Cam's just gonna win all three: National Player of the Year, ACC Player of the Year, and Freshman of the Year.
Brown at Louisville would have a case depending on what he does in there, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it also depends on how if Louisville wins the ACC and we finish fourth, then maybe.
Sure, but I change things for sure.
But if Cam keeps the projection up where he's doing Coop numbers, where he's leading us in points, rebounds,
and he's literally leading the country in National Player of the Year. So it's like, what are we talking about, right? Like it's just
and in ways his numbers are more impressive than Cooper's because he has to do more, right? So I mean, he's leading the country in scoring. So last I looked, I mean, unless somebody overtook him, he's like 23.6 points again. Yeah,
he's at 23.6, and Devanson just came out 23.2 or something.
Yeah. So when you're 23 points, when you're leading the country in scoring, and then you also have like a 148 offensive rating, and you also have like highest box plus minus ever, and you're like, I mean, it's crazy when you look at his sports reference, like how many categories just across the board he's like top 3 in the entire country in. So yeah, I don't know. Assuming unless he just hits some wall, I just don't see why he wouldn't win it, because Duke is going to need him, right? Unless like, I mean, hopefully we don't. Hopefully Isaiah Evans just starts averaging 19 points per game and he can do less, but
Yeah, I mean, you're thinking in these close games, it's going to be Cam down the stretch. I mean, it's just going to be there. Yeah, I mean, I'll go with that. Coach of the year, I don't even, I don't know. I could
John can't win it at this point.
John would have to repeat and probably go like 17-1.
He'd have to
like that. And
John is not going to win it until he recruits worse. Like, if John has a year where he just misses out on some recruits and Duke is still good, that's the only way he's winning it.
Pretty much, yeah. Or he just takes the team like this and goes 18-0 or whatever.
How about this plot twist? All of our guys go to the NBA, and then we get like Boston College's squad for next year, and John has to coach them.
Yeah, and he would still have to go 16-2 and win the conference.
Exactly.
It's Duke, bro. It's Duke.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Kelsey's going to get it again. I mean,
no.
Hubert. I think that the obvious two choices are Jay Lucas and Ryan Odom. To me, are going to be the top two.
Ryan Odom will probably
year one guys coming in. Jay's first year head coach, so like that could be pretty impressive. If they sneak in and win top 4, you got to give it to him. I mean, Miami was just god awful. Like they were bad. That would be pretty impressive.
Bad their Hall of Fame coach just like quit on them in December, like right after Christmas. He just
I'm out, bro. I won't mess with them more. And we'll talk about this a little bit too, but there's stuff going on where it's like these old heads, like I can't blame them, man. Like we're getting to a point where it's about to get pretty silly here, probably. I don't know if y'all want to jump into that for a little bit. If you still got some thoughts, Raul, if you wanted to jump in.
I was just gonna before we move on, just with Ryan Odom's case is like, Virginia was 106 on KenPom last year. They're now up to 23rd. At this same point last year, they already had 5 losses. They've got 1 right now. So, the turnaround has been pretty impressive. It's maybe not quite at the level of Louisville because they weren't as bad as Louisville was under Kenny Payne, but it's approaching that.
Yeah.
So it's when you have that kind of first year turnaround, it's like that kind of makes you a shoe-in, assuming they can kind of stay at the level they're at right now.
I mean, what did Kenny Payne win, like 10 games in his couple of years that he coached?
Yeah, it was like 5 games a year. It was really, really bad.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Well, I guess, fellas, we can kind of move on here a little bit. I mean, teased it here. If y'all have been watching, listening, following Twitter, following some of these news lines, the college eligibility thing is getting a little kind of crazy here, folks. We got guys on 2-way contracts. We got G League guys coming in. We got overseas guys coming in. What do y'all make of this, man? Like, to me, it's I hate to be too much like the curmudgeon of like get off my lawn, but it does seem that we're at a point where it's like we're going to lose the sport. Like this is not college athletics anymore. Not that it probably has been in a long time, but now it's just so out in the openly not. I don't know, man. Where do y'all make it of some of this stuff here? I know it's funny to say, okay, let's get Jalen Johnson or DJ Stewart. Like that's funny to talk about, but it's not like super far away. Maybe like
obviously we're not getting Jalen Johnson, to be clear, because he makes $30 million. But
like a DJ Stewart type is like,
you
know, like it's right there. I mean, we have a 27.
What's Vernon Carey doing?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, would Vernon Carey be, as good as Gong has been? I think Vernon Carey at like 26 years old would be a little bit upgrade.
Yeah.
I mean, his brothers still play. Brothers playing at Tennessee, come back,
Exactly.
Yeah. But overall, though, like, I know we're kind of joking about it, like, because it kind of is a joke here, but concern level for y'all and how
look, when we started bringing like the international guys in, I didn't really kind of bat an eye at that because, and I don't know a lot about international basketball, but I always seen it as just like a level that maybe on par with what collegiate is at their highest level. But, the NBA was always like, once you're there, that's the pinnacle. The G League thing, I think if there's a kid that's been in college and then like, all right, well, I'm done with this, I'm going to the G League or going to the draft. Like, I mean, I'm kind of old school. And then, all right, well, that's it for you. You make that decision, whether you stay here or you take that leap. I don't know about, whatever we're doing where we're bringing back guys that got drafted 2 years ago, but
that's the thing, right? Correct me. Like you mentioned the international, but like, and I might be wrong on this, but typically bringing in those international guys were still college age kids. They were 16, 17, 18, maybe not. Enes Kanter might have been 20, right?
Right.
Play. Now you're talking about bringing in international pros. Like there's a difference in these like under 16, under like what, I know Dame was technically out there, but like there's a difference. It's not like we're bringing Jabari Parker in. Right. And that's what we're getting to, where it's like, hey, if Jabari would have just went straight over there and played and like you could get Dame, you could get Bari. And it's like, ooh, there's levels to this stuff a little bit, right? Like bringing Tyrese Proctor over to me isn't the same as like trying to bring in Trenton Flowers or something, right? Like that's just a bit different. And I don't know, man. I don't know how they're going to police that. I don't think they can.
Did one of you guys look at like if they've played an NBA game, you're not eligible to?
So
come
far,
back?
They have not. I don't know, but they've
not. That's why the Trenton Flowers thing would be a big deal, right? So far, everybody that's been declared eligible, they might have been like technically on an NBA team or part of an NBA roster or whatever, but they never signed any kind of contract and never played an NBA game. So that's when you kind of start getting into like, if you take that genie out of the bottle, right? Like then what's to stop any player? So let's say somebody goes to the NBA and they play a couple years, but they don't get that second contract. Mm-hmm. If you've said that somebody like Trenton Flowers can play, what's to stop any of those players who just are realizing, hey, I'm not going to get a second contract. I can go back to college and still make $2 million, or I can go overseas, right? Because usually what used to happen in the past was like, I'm not cutting in an NBA. I'm going to go overseas for a few years, play there for a while. That's either going to be my life, or I kind of get better and then I'm able to come back to the NBA. Well, now, instead of going overseas and having to like learn a new language and culture and just kind of be a fish out of water, just go to college. You have more like visibility in the limelight, so you're like more likely to get back on an NBA roster that way. But in the meantime, you can still earn $1 million, $2 million. So that's kind of where it's going to get pretty dicey, because like, why wouldn't, especially American-born players, why wouldn't any American-born player in that situation just go back to college?
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, so can we just bring Tariq Whitehead back and be like, hey, bro, you didn't really get a chance here the first time. Let's try it again. Run it back. You rehabbed. You good? Like, I don't know. It's kind of.
I mean, we mentioned Stewart. He'd be the best case because he never played an NBA game.
I don't know if Did Keels ever
play?
He
might have played a couple.
He did. He did play a few.
But if you open that door, then you can bring the Keels back. You can bring Carey, all that stuff. It's like
Matt Hurt.
Yep, exactly.
Matt Hurt played. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he played a few games. So I guess I would just say, like, I don't like it at all, but if it's going to happen, I don't want to see Duke get like left behind there, right? Like, it's going to get pretty dicey if we're trying to. I don't care how good the freshmen we're bringing in, if they're literally playing against NBA players, I don't see that working out well.
But did you guys see what Izzo said? Because Izzo was like, I'm framing it to my guys like,
I really liked what Izzo said. Yeah.
Oh, do you want me to just go and, snatch this guy from the G League and take your minutes? Like, I'm not going to be able to recruit kids if I'm doing that. So maybe it backfires on some of them. And he kind of calls out Scott Drew about it. I mean,
he did. I mean, he said, I like Scott, but I mean, hey, what are we doing, man? Like, what's happening here? I mean, you're taking spots away from like actual college kids. Like, so someone's going to come in January and then someone has to sit, someone has to, and there's, I get it that it happens. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, there is a little bit of like
the mid-season thing is crazy too, man.
That's a big thing there. I mean, Baylor's bringing in a pro. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Like here's a pro center about to come in here. Now, do I expect that to like be anything crazy? No, but like if you go get a pro guard, hell yeah. Hell yeah, will, dude. Like you go get Jamal Shed, shit, bring him in, bro. I'll run him out here right now. Like that is kind of crazy a little bit, right? Like that part is like, okay, let me just go snag Walter Clayton right quick. And I know he's played, but like you said, if they open that thing with Flowers, if something like that happens, then there's no legal precedent at that point of like, well, so what is the cutoff? You can play, up to like 20 minutes. You can play up to like 40 minutes in an NBA game. Like, I don't know, man.
Well, it's just odd. Like you burn your red shirt if you play one single NCAA minute, but now we're letting guys who've played NBA minutes come in. And I don't know. It's just, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. There's no leadership in there either. Like there's no government. Like you gotta have you gotta have governance in this point. I mean, it's crazy.
The NCAA was like neutered years ago through the court system and all that, and just now they have no power whatsoever. So they're not going to.
Well, I think it's going to take the courts or the government to basically write, this set of laws or standards in for eligibility.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. At some point, you're gonna have to get into contracts and buyouts if this is gonna get to that level. I mean, this could get kind of.
I just don't see Duke ever going down that path. Like, really, right?
Duke
has been pretty resistant to the portal overall. Like, we're typically bringing in like maybe 1-2 guys a year, and they're more like role players. We're not really bringing in like a star guard or anything like that. Not shelling out a ton of money for the portal. So the idea that optically Duke would ever want to just be that mercenary, I just don't see that happening because they do still care about their academic image.
Yeah. And John has said multiple times that he still thinks that now that could change if you start all of a sudden getting pros coming in, right? I guess change.
I mean, I said all that, but if like for some weird reason, 43-year-old LeBron wants to play at Duke for a year, I'll take him.
Yeah. I mean, what's stopping you at that point, right? But yeah, just wanted to touch on it just because of the hilarious kind of where we find ourselves in this stuff. I guess, fellas, if you want, we've talked a little bit about it, but just any kind of quick thoughts that you want to touch on here for Georgia Tech. Like they have been a pesky team for us. There is a little bit, I don't know if y'all saw this, but that whole Alvarado Mark Williams thing, right? Or go ahead and then his game up a little bit. And if I
didn't love, I kind of love Alvarado anyway. So it's like it was just like sort of funny to me. Like I don't know.
I did too.
Like you're trying to fight a 7-footer.
7-footer,
They were throwing hands though. Like they were not talking about it. Like it was like, all right, hey, get out there and get it. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I don't know if y'all have a ton of thoughts here about Georgia Tech. Like I said, I'm impressed by the front court a little bit that they do throw some 6'10", 6'9" size out there. Nongo has killed us before as well. At the same time, though, they're just really not very collectively good. I mean,
and I'm banking on our guys stewing over that Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean, the offense is just not there right now. We went from being first in effective field goal percentage down to 5th now, so like maybe you get some of that back. I think a lot of that though is just an outlier Texas Tech kind of performance where we just really got away from some stuff that was working. But this really shouldn't be close, fellas. Like I'm not. This should not be a close game.
it's it's a Q4 home game, and it's like, I mean, they're not even, unless you come out and give like a Lipscomb level effort, right? Because they're kind of in that range, KenPom wise. So unless you come out with that kind of like sort of sad defensive effort, and I feel like we're going to because we had a little bit of defensive slippage in the last 2 games, and I feel like what we're going to see is a lot more dialed in defense for this next game. That's what I would expect, at least.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure John's like pissed about that,
You got to think that he's not very happy, and I think that you do have an opportunity here to really kind of cut the head off the snake a little bit. They don't have a ton of guys out there just forging. I mean, Cam Kraft is good, but outside of that, man, there's not a whole lot there in terms of creation. But all right, fellas, I think we've written pretty long enough as we get ready to wind this down. Hope everyone has a happy New Year's here. Just kind of real quick, fellas, you got any what's your New Year's resolution for this Duke squad? Do you have one?
Find that reliable second guy, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
Yeah.
That's got to be it.
To add on to that, because for me, the guy needs to be Evans. I just think that's the best candidate there. I think just for John to maybe like sit down with Evans and have a little heart to heart, like I was talking about, like, because I think we know it's in there, right, for him. Like he could drop 18 a game easily. I think there needs to be like, I don't know what the motivational tactic is, but like, hey man, we need you to be who we know you can be.
Yeah. Enough.
I just don't understand how it's got to like, we were worried about him taking YOLO shots, and now he's taking 4 shots, period.
Exactly,
like,
right.
Yeah. There's got to be a median somewhere.
Exactly.
To that.
Like I like that he's trying to be like a team player, right? He's trying to like rebound, defend, do all the other stuff, but maybe just like take off the leash maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
we'll see the crock pot. We hadn't seen him heat up real quick.
Get going a little bit. I think that's it for me, man. It's too much on Cam. I think at this point it is. Can we diversify a little bit? The flip side of that, maybe the other piece, and we talked about, I'm not going to go on a tangent here, but maybe Caden provide something that if not, right? So if you are just going to kind of be, death by 1,000 cuts outside of Cam, maybe Caden gets in there and just really starts spraying the ball around or doing something different.
We talked about him trending up a little bit in the last 2 games. So that's kind of the good thing. Like I would say these like Duke's in a mini slump, even though they won the Lipscomb game, it's like, well, if anything good comes out of this, it's like Caden starting to look like, an ACC level guard, right?
Looked great, looked good against Texas Tech late, looked good in Kent. So he's also shown it against better competition. There's some optimism there. But all right. Well, in the meantime, we appreciate you all. Be safe out there. If you're doing any traveling, drinking, doing whatever, have a good time. But call an Uber if you need to, all that good stuff, right? Not going to preach to you, but be careful. Be safe. You can email us, rate, review, subscribe as well. Email us TheDevilsDen.com. You can find us on X/Twitter at DevilsDenPod 247, and keep the faces strong and the verb out. Go Duke.